This is your dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. Starting from humble beginnings, Nick has been beating the markets for over 2 decades. He shares with you his take on the profitable trades that will have you moving towards financial freedom in no time at all. To see an in-depth review of his track record and much more, go to inthemoneystocks.com. Welcome, and this is your daily dose of daily market wisdom with Master Trader Nick Santiago. I'm Kerry Lutz. Today's July 10th, and this is show number 73. So, Nick, what have the markets got in store for us today?
Well, today we got a little bit of a mixtape. We have the Dow and the Russell 2000 higher. Russell's up by over 1%, so that's a really nice move. But the Nasdaq is pulling back today. We have the Nasdaq down about 12 points. It's not really a big deal. It was down much more a little while ago, but it looks like it's coming back with everything else at the moment. Energy is higher, retail is higher, financials are catching a bid today, so that's a little bit of a surprise. But as we said on Monday, when you have on Tuesday rather, when you have a big up Monday, the rest of the week is usually a lot of backing and filling, and that's exactly what we've seen so far.
Yeah, so big up Monday and backing and filling. And what do we learn from a mixtape?
Well, a lot of times what we've had recently is we've had the Nasdaq up quite a bit. The Nasdaq's positive on the year by a substantial amount, where the other major indexes are all negative. The Russell's down still pretty big. But now if the Nasdaq starts to distribute a little bit and money goes into the other sectors, that's really setting us up for another leg higher in the market.
Right. So you think we're going to go higher here, huh?
Well, I don't see anything telling us we're not. And until that changes, I got to stick with that forecast.
All right. Well, hey, we'll take your word for it. So we can look forward to better markets and hopefully better days for the country. Obviously, a lot of negative stuff coming out about COVID-19. We've seen cases go up here in Florida, and now deaths have gone up. But still, from a statistical standpoint, it's not really that meaningful, is it?
Well, it can be, I suppose. It's never a good thing to see, the numbers go up, especially the death toll numbers. But the funny thing is the markets are overlooking this because they don't believe this stuff anymore. They don't know if these numbers are even actual. Now, I believe, yes, maybe cases are going up. You've had massive riots and protests around the country for weeks now, and they should go up. But you're getting more and more people tested. The numbers are very fudged. So if you look at it, the market is saying, hey, I'm not so sure I'm buying into this anymore. We have a lot of therapeutics out there, and that's what the market's telling us.
Okay, and we've seen that the treatments for it, particularly the hydroxychloroquine cocktail, if you will, have proven 70% effective. So, we can't cure the common cold, we can't cure the flu, but we can effectively treat 70% of the COVID cases.
Yeah, and the best thing about hydroxychloroquine and zinc is the fact that it really doesn't cost any money.
Yeah, well, that's the worst thing for Big Pharma and for the CDC and Dr. F. But for the people, it's a good thing.
It's a great thing. It's a wonderful thing. And it's really disturbing how that study was just so undermined. And now it's coming out that it really is effective. And we've talked about it being effective here, since the dog days of March. So, again, it's amazing what you can find out as a trader.
Yeah, so... And hey, look, the numbers spike, they go up, they go down, but it's not at the level of an epidemic anymore. Even the CDC is going to have to reclassify it. So I guess the reopening, is it going to happen here? Or are people just going to en masse rebel? I mean, I was expecting it to happen up to this point, but they're just not doing it, Nick.
I have to tell you, I'm here in the Tampa Bay area. Things are almost as normal as they were a year ago. The baseball fields are crowded with people. People are going about their business. Construction workers are going. My landscaper, just yesterday told me he's never been this busy ever. I mean, that's just talking to you, so people are done with it. I think, the markets are telling you that. And, hopefully, we could see a recovery. The real negative here is you have a very divided country, and you're going to have a very turbulent election season coming up, and that's still a little bit away, but we're getting closer to that time period.
Yeah, what do you think? How's the market going to react here?
Well, right now, the markets are fine. They're reacting pretty well, and that's all we really concern ourselves with as traders. But things could start to get nasty, as we get to September, October. I would not rule that out.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Things are definitely heating up on the election front. Well, really, election season doesn't really start until after Labor Day weekend, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, so when you're looking ahead here and you're thinking, where do I put my money, right? What are people thinking here? What's the standard, advice here?
Well, tech has been the hot sector. So technology, you're talking about Apple, Amazon, Microsoft. These stocks have made new all-time highs. Then you get the second-tier tech names like Shopify and Tesla. They've been making new all-time highs. So if you see some money come out of that and go into other areas, we could start to see some other industry groups perk up. Hotels, airlines, travel industry could be getting a bid. Retail could start to get a bid. Energy stocks, believe it or not, as dreadful as they've been, they could start to get a bid. I think all the energy stocks are starting to look attractive. I said that yesterday. So, these are areas. And if financials get a bid, you got a big rally ahead.
Yeah. And you've been at this a long time, decades. As a trader, what are you thinking?
Well, I'm watching this week coming up because it's options expiration. And, there's a lot of institutional game playing. So we really got to see what kind of pattern is made after that. Like I said, tech has been the strong industry group, but a lot of those stocks have gone parabolic. If they can distribute some of that money out of those names and going to some broader indexes or some broader sectors, such as financials, such as travel, such as maybe the home builders, which I said I like that group too. I'm about to get into home builders shortly. If we see some money distribute into that area, that broadens the rally, that broadens the market, and we'll go a lot higher, into September.
So, Nick, we got some questions here from a couple of community members who've been paying close attention to our daily podcast here. One of which is person saying, James from, I think, Pennsylvania, saying, I don't understand how the market can be so optimistic and bubbly when it seems like the whole world is coming to an end. Well,
there's an old saying in the market. The markets love to climb the wall of worry. When there's no problems in the world, that's when you need to be worried as a trader. and I'll give you a perfect example of that. I got worried in January. I said, hey, this is ready to turn down. Everybody was laughing at me, and sure enough, what happened. But when there are no problems in the world, you always want to watch a market that climbs the wall of worry. As long as it can do that, and there's more problems out there, that's a very bullish indicator. I always tell people when markets can go up on negative news, yesterday, I forget the comment Anthony Fauci put out there, but it was dire. But the markets are up, and that's all that really matters. In fact, after he said it, the markets rallied, and that's the market's way of talking to you. So you have to have a different mindset. You have to cross-wire your brain as a trader. When negative news turns into positive chart tape, you have to respect that.
Yeah, so negative news will often turn into positive charts. So this kind of the next question, which is from Paul in Wisconsin. Nick, I've lost money consistently in the market for the past 20 years, and I'm ready to give up. Do you have any last advice for me?
Well, first off the bat is you got to know who you are as a trader. Are you a longer-term trader? Are you an investor? The trading business isn't for everybody. Like my mother used to tell me, I made every mistake a person could make. That's how I kind of learned. And I still make mistakes to this very day. It's still a challenge. It's still a learning experience. And I suppose that's why I love it. But what I will say is, you have to learn who you are as a person. The trading business isn't for everybody. That's why there are money managers out there. That's why people give their money to other people to manage it for them, because they just may not be cut out for it, and that's okay. But I mean, the first thing that people need to learn is what makes a market move. I remember when I was a stockbroker, all they taught me was the next great cure for cancer. Go tell somebody this story and get them to buy 1,000 shares. And I said, but I'm not learning anything about the market. Don't worry about the market. Sell the story. That's what it was all about. I as a person wanted to know what moves markets, what's the interesting dynamics, what are the volume trends, what are the moving averages telling us, what are the patterns, which are the footprint of human nature telling us. These are the things you got to study if you want to be successful in this market or any market, therefore.
So you need to invest some time and some effort here to really figure out what's going on here.
Yeah, it's not easy to identify, a choppy trend. Like say right now, the S&P put in a top on the 8th of June rather, and we've been in a choppy sideways move. I mean, it's gone nowhere. So what do you do in this kind of environment? Do you get out of the market? Do you go fishing like Jesse Livermore used to say? Perhaps, but you look for the best chart pattern setups, and that's all you want to get involved in. And if you don't get those good chart pattern setups, leave the market alone, wait for the setups. The one thing I realize about most people that want to get into this business, they have a gambler's mentality, and that is the absolute attitude you do not want to have in this business. You do not want to be a gambler. You want to have the odds in your favor. You want to be very constructive. You want to be a surgeon. You want to be a technician. You do not want to be a gambler, and that's the biggest problem that I find with most people that get into this business. They think it's Las Vegas.
Yeah, and they get the gratification just from playing the game rather than winning it, right?
Absolutely, and I find that so fascinating because if I could get one knock on my service is that I don't give them enough action. I don't give you enough trades. If I could tell you when they call up my office and they're like, hey, Nick's put up 20-something winners in a row, but I don't get enough trades. I mean, that's God honest truth, what I hear all the time. I don't give them enough action, but I have 2 losing trades out of 60 or something, but they want action, and that's a gambler's mentality. And my response is, I don't think my service is for you.
Yeah. Well, it's like the guys that want to bet every game on Sunday, every football game or every basketball game, and you have to lose with that mindset. You got to be selective and only bet where you feel like you have an advantage, right?
Well, that's what the whole business is about, and that's why we use charts. I'm not going to win on every single trade, but I'm going to put the odds in my favor every single time out that I can win. And, I've run off sometimes 20, 30 winners in a row consistently without a loser, and yet I'll get that phone call. Hey, you just don't give me enough action. I said, well, this is not the action program. If you want that, you might want to watch The Karate Kid. But this is the trading program where we want to make money.
Yeah, and I guess that's it. So you got to be very clear on what your goals are, what you're looking to accomplish, and how you're going to get there, because otherwise you're going to be one of the gamblers, and that's not going to do any good. Hey, just passing review of gold and silver. They're kind of flat today. What's happening there?
Yeah, right now we have gold futures up about $5, sitting at around 1808, and that's on the futures. And then we have silver today, trading up a little bit. Silver's actually doing pretty well. Let me just give you the exact quote here. I'm just pulling that up. 1910 an ounce for silver, up about 0.8%. Not a bad day there.
All right, so they're still heading higher. It looks like the trajectory has come down a little bit. They're a little bit less bullish, right?
Well, I'd love to see them personally, Kerry. I'd love to see them go sideways. The longer they could go sideways, the bigger the move is going to be in them down the road. So let's see what kind of pattern they develop into the weekend. Next week will be very interesting, and then we'll take it from there. But, I mean, they're really, really holding up very, very well. Gold has been a powerhouse. Silver's starting to play some catch-up. I like silver longer term even a little bit better.
Yeah. Yep. I'm aware of that. And I feel the same way about it. I think we'll leave it at that for the weekend. Everybody have a great weekend out there and start thinking about what your trades are going to be. And go take a look at Nick's site, inthemoneystocks.com, the Twitter feeds at ITMS, at Nick Santiago 01 at Kerry Lutz. And make sure you pay close attention to Nick's trading record. It's nothing short of amazing. And take a look at the other materials available on the site. Questions or comments, we'll answer all. KL@KerryLutz.com. That's KL@KerryLutz.com. Nick, we will talk to you Monday.
Sounds good, Kerry.
This concludes another episode of Daily Market Wisdom with Master Trader Nick Santiago. For more information, go to inthemoneystocks.com and see Nick's full trading record, or check out the Twitter feeds @ITMS and @NickSantiago01.